Welcome. Welcome to Navel Consciousness Introductory Series, Part 6. I have seen that when a mother's child is ill, and she is ill at the same time, she forgets everything. There is a power that is available to a mother when she is ill and when her child is ill, and that power, that perception, that strength, that understanding, and that ability to lend herself to the child is extraordinary. I think most of the mothers, I know most of the mothers go through this phase, go through this period where they hold their child no matter in what difficulty they personally are. I believe it happens because of love. Yeah, very obvious answer, obviously. But what is it exactly about love that makes this happen? Love introduces us to the power of presence, to the power of strength. Why do we admire that one entity called God? Because of the strength that it has. Hi Sonu, welcome. Why do we admire God? Why do we call God merciful? Because of the power and the love that comes with that power. The benevolence that comes with that power. So love, power, benevolence, all together is so ecstatic that it gives us the strength to surpass the limitations that we otherwise feel that we own. And it is in these moments that we realize that we are not the limitation we believe we are. Because of love, everything changes. Love is like the rainbow. Its composite is so many different things. And if you have this one ingredient, if you have this one rainbow with you, you have 7 different qualities of life with you. So when you have love for yourself, when you have love for life, when you have love for your work, when you have love for relationships, when you have love for your life purpose, the ecstasy of life is totally different. But all this is easier said than done. Because love is not such an easy thing to happen to us. Love is not such an easy come our way. The reason why a lot of people take inner journey is to be able to experience this love. And when of course I say love, I'm no way limiting it to the romance between two people. I'm talking about love and its infinite possibilities. In infinite ways that it drenches us, in infinite ways that it completes us. The inner journey of any seeker, instigated by anything, is about love, is about finding love. And during that inner journey, we may run after big goals like enlightenment. We may run after big goals like meditation, mindfulness, awareness, consciousness. But these are big goals. This is big talk. How do you break it down? How does this talk, that is just talk, that is out in the air, that is something that's only falling into your ears, that's only touching your head, how does it become your reality? You know, most of us who are in the healing field, we talk about love and light. It's so easy for us to say love and light. More power to you. But do we break down the process of how light actually comes to me, the being? What is the science of it? This is why most of the spiritual history has been riddled with a lot of confused people trying random stuff at random stages, which is not coherent, not harmonious, and thus more damaging. What has been more damaging than cults, sects, and fake gurus has been a seeker's random journey, jumps and leaps that actually are not in tune with the seeker's seeking. And so, how do we become this love? How do we become this energy? It's not going to just happen with me sitting in my office and one day being absolutely fed up of everything that is happening with me and deciding that I need to go for a meditation. And so I go and join a commune, I go to an ashram that is offering it, I go to a healing center and I just randomly start to meditate. I sit and I start to watch my breath, or I do some technique that has been prescribed to me. Your mind has been monkeying. Your being is restless. Your insecurities are flagging at their best. How are you going to, in that moment, be able to watch yourself settle down, relax, and be in tune with your breath? It's like somebody has broken a bone and you take them to a tarot card reader. What is in the future? Please pull out a card. That person in that moment needs to be taken to an orthopedician so that the bone can be set, the cast can be put, and the bone can be saved. The person can be saved. If you take that person to a totally different place, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't mean that tarot card reader is wrong or the prediction is wrong. It also doesn't mean that the orthopedician is wrong. It only means we took the wrong person to the wrong place. That's it. This is the monkey jumping that happens in the inner journey, in the spiritual journey, because spiritual journey is an invisible journey. There's nothing tangible here. Unlike our life journey, where we know we got into the nursery and we came out from the 10th grade, then we went to the college, then we did engineering or whatever, and we came out as a professional, then we go to the industry, we establish ourselves. You know, there are milestones, and these milestones are collective. You know that 100,000 million other people have done this, or for that matter, not done it. And so you have something tangible in your hands. But spiritual journey, inner journey, is invisible journey. Because it's invisible, intangible, there are no milestones out there. And especially because there are no milestones, and there is no way of confirming what actually you are achieving, what you are doing, it becomes difficult to pin it down to something. And exactly in this moment, seekers make random choices. Somebody who should be in nursery picks up 10th grade stuff. Somebody who should be in 10th grade picks up 5th grade stuff. And this is how we end up wasting our time. Inner journey is actually, in reality, if you go by the right terms, if you meet the right kind of mentors, if you give yourself that patience, if you respect yourself, if you honor yourself, the inner journey is stepwise, systematic. And there are ways, tools, different ways that facilitate different openings, that facilitate different initiations in you. Just like for our body, you go and play and do your cardio workout. The cardio workout is for your heart. It's to strengthen you. But when you pick up the weight, it's mainly for your muscles. It does help your heart on the way, but it is mainly for your muscles. We know this difference between cardio and weight training. But in spirituality, because it's intangible, because it's invisible, we hardly make out this difference. Why am I telling you all this right now? Because so many of you have reached out to me through personal messages, via various media. And of course, your questions are all about how you can carry out your journey. Most of you have been sharing with me the pain points you have, the wounds you have been carrying, and what these wounds and how these wounds have been limiting you. All of us have been limited by our respective wounds. All of us have taken so much time to just lick our wounds. So this part is specially dedicated to giving you an introduction to your inner work via Navel Consciousness. I'm going to talk about Navel Consciousness. If there is any other platform where I will be talking about something else, that is a different platform. On this platform, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how Navel Consciousness, what are the practical aspects of it that can help you right there where you are. The last episode was about Ma and the Sufi mystic Ma and the Navel Awakening initiation. There are so many people who may not qualify for it. There's so many people who may apply and may not get accepted for the initiation because some part of their being is not ready. So you can't just go and pay the money and get accepted for the initiation. And there's so many people who may not be able to make the journey right now to go and take the initiation from Ma. While you are not able to go and take the initiation personally from Ma, and as nobody else gives it, what should you be doing otherwise with Navel Consciousness right there at the stage that you are on? That's the information I'm going to give pertaining to your inner work with Navel Consciousness. The most important aspect of Navel Consciousness is the self-energizing session. Navel Consciousness self-energizing session. When we talk about light, you must have heard a lot of quantum scientists and a lot of researchers and inventors telling you light is the future medicine. It is. It's not just the future medicine. It is the ancient medicine. It is the timeless medicine. It is the quantum medicine, it's the spatial medicine that every other culture, every other civilization has been using other than us. When I say civilization, I don't mean us, the Indian civilization. I mean us, the people who are on earth right now. Obviously, there are so many more civilizations. There are so many more beings into the universe. It would be really egoistic of us to consider that just because we can't find them, to assume that we are the only ones here. But about that in some other episode. So the Navel Consciousness energizing session asks you the question that you talk about light. Light is the medicine. How will you integrate light into you? What is the scientific process? What is the actual process, the physical, tangible process of you generating light? You have light. Everybody is saying universe is full of light. Universe is full of universal life force. Now this life force seems to be here. I don't seem to be having all the life force because obviously I'm operating from a limited prospect right now. My body is limited. My mind is limited. So all this light that is available, how does it come down literally to my cells? We may say chakras. That's the pat answer we have. What is the science of chakras receiving the light? We say chakras, but if you investigate a person, if you take the CT scans, if you take any kind of scans that have been taken so far by scientists, you will not see a connecting point between the chakras and the body. What is the bridge? Just like in the brain, between two neurons, there is a gap. The synaptic gap and the electricity jumps from one point to the other. Just like that, light, the universal medicine, uses electricity as its conduit, as its tool to come into us. This is why we have an electromagnetic field. This is why the electricity is running into our body through the nerves. This is why we have a crucial pivotal balance of elements, the 5 elements. There are actually 8 elements, but 3 of them are not yet out. 5 elements into our body, and electricity runs it. Why is electricity so important to us? What can we do with the bioelectricity? What is the language of bioelectricity? How does it actually translate the light, the universal life force, into my electricity that is just enough for me to run at an optimal level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every way? The Navel Consciousness self-energizing session is a session that you can go from a minimum of 20 minutes every day. You can stretch it to 45 minutes depending on your sadhana. But in these 20 to 25 minutes, a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes, your entire being is initiated through a process. You do that process, which I teach you in the workshop. You do that process where you're converting, you're energizing your nerves that carry the electricity to a point where you start to increase the resistance of the electric resistance of the nerves so that you can receive the direct transmission of the light into your body. Sorry again if I'm getting technical, but I will give you a full-fledged explanation of it to full satisfaction when you are in the workshop. Self-energizing session changes everything, because every day you learn a process where every day you're reinitiating yourself into the abundance triad. You're reinitiating yourself, your nerves, to a place where you can translate the light into the electricity. The electricity then gets translated into the chemicals, and thus thoughts to emotions to feelings to sensations. Don't be in any kind of misunderstanding that your lower chakras, your thoughts, emotions and feelings are useless or lower vibrations or lower harmonics and not needed. Universal intelligence is not stupid. Your root chakra, the most densest chakra that you have, the densest vibration that you have, and your Sahasrara, the crown chakra, the lightest vibration that you have, there's a reason why it is built the way it is built. There's a reason why every harmonics is built the way it is built. It's us, the idiots, that analyze something and consider it the whole story. Yet again, just like 5 blind men were sent to go and find an elephant in the forest, they found one, but each blind man was touching a certain part of the elephant, and each blind man thought that is what the whole elephant is about. This is us. This is us about spirituality. This is us about our quantum being. This is us about the inner journey. We have a limited perception. We think this is whole. And so you have people at war telling you this meditation is everything you need, this class is everything you need, this modality is everything you need. No, you are an evolving being. You are never in the same place. You are a vortex, and a vortex does not get confined to just one thing. That one thing journeys with the vortex. You're not somebody who needs to jump from one thing to another. You need to journey with something. So your lower chakras, your lower harmonics, your emotions, your feelings, your sensations have immense value. Please respect them. Don't disregard them. Don't bypass them. your enlightenment, your spiritual, you will see a lot of spiritual people who are attuned, who consider their third eye open, who consider their crown center open. Probably is, their perception is great, but their lives suck. I'm sorry to say it this way. Lives suck. You see them in a situation and you see their worst behavior coming out, their insecurities and fears coming out. I don't by any way mean to say that you need to be calm all the time. I'm never calm all the time. But you see their fears coming out when the axe hits them. So you find a lot of people giving you the lecture that let the axe come, stand in front of it, let the blade come and cut your throat and you will realize nothing happens. Put the axe on towards their direction and see their reaction. That's when you will come to know who is who and what is what. So how does this universal life force translate to you? How does your whole causal being become receptive enough, powerful enough to allow the quantum being to flow in? The meaning of ascension is not to bypass your body, not to bypass who you are here. This is a perfect system. This is one of the most advanced machines there is in the multiverse. So this is not to be bypassed. This is to be loved. This is to be worshipped. This is to be honored. Now the point is, the quantum being which is a bigger being than this. How does this quantum being flood the causal? So there is no difference left between the causal and the quantum. At one point, you are standing in the middle. You have both available and you live your life. You react to everything from this place of balance. And when I say this place of balance, please do not think I'm talking about you reacting with a pseudo calmness. There are places where you do not need calmness, where you need anger, and that is what serves. But there are places where you don't need anger. So NC, self-energizing session, is one step that you take back home with you. You do it every day. And trust me, this is my experience because I have already tested it on a few people and I can see their lives changing, and I can see, I listen to them every day, what is happening and how they are getting into the ecstasy of living. It doesn't mean all their problems have got over. They are tuning into the ecstasy of living. That is the most important thing. The next option is NC touch session. Now there's a touch session that an NC healer will give you to activate your nerves so you can have the same process happening to you. If you haven't learned the self-energizing session, you simply take a session from an NC healer who will give it to you. Take a few sessions and see the difference, and then you can learn self-energizing session, or the other way around. Sometimes you may have learned the self-energizing session. You must go to an NC healer and learn the session and take the session. Another option for you is to take the NC causal reinitiation workshop. What is that one thing that keeps you limited? See, in a room full of people, if I'm there are 10 people here. What is the difference between all of us? If you look at it, there's hardly any difference. Even if I am a woman and there are 6 men there, our noses are in the same place. Our eyes are in the same place. We may have just the difference of body shape, genitals, hormones. That's it. Those are minor differences. But our hearts are same. Our feelings are same. Our pains are same. Our pleasures are same. So basically there are more similarities than there are diversities. But what is the one thing that's not a diversity, but a fragmentation? If I'm in a room and we are 11 of us, there is no unity in the room because 11 of us have 11 different minds. My mind has its monkey business. Your mind has your monkey business. And if we put 11 of us together, we have 11 different realities, 11 different minds. But if you look outside, You see the sun, you see the moon, you see the stars, you see the universe. Everything is working in harmony. Do you and I run even a blade of grass? Do we have to bother to ask the sun to rise or the moon to set or the winds to blow or the rains to come? Nothing. None of it depends on us. Now look within. Do you ask your heart to beat? Do you ask your eyelashes to move? Do you ask your blood to flow? Do you even ask your digestive system to work? No. What do you know about your electricity? What do you know about your chemical reactions? I know nothing what is going on right here. Trillions of cells, millions of processes in this body right now. I have no clue. I manage nothing. Even when I am moving my hands, I don't really actually have to wait. It's happening while I'm emoting. You are listening to my voice, and you're listening and you're understanding in a fraction of a second. We are magnificent beings. Everything outside is magnificent. Then what the hell is wrong with us? Why are we so sad? Why are we so depressed? Why are we limited? Why are we cramped? Why are we in a problem? Because our mind is different. Your mind, my mind is limited. The whole limitation stems from the mind, from the causal consciousness. Causal consciousness is the conditioning you have had, not the conditioning of this lifetime, the conditioning of the being, the conditioning of lifetimes, the conditioning of yugas that you are a part of. You and I are a part of a yuga where the Kali Yuga has just got over, and we are the part of a preparatory yuga that is going towards the Sat Yuga. That means you and I are naturally untuning from the darkness that was needed as a configuration to be in the Kali Yuga. And we are undoing it. How do we know? Look at the world around and see the chaos. The Me Too movement, the sacred feminine rising, out of the blue, prepared for thousands of years, finally it is here. The sacred masculine rising, the truth rising in the middle of chaos and violence. So here we are. Minds are changing, perceptions are shifting, horizons are broadening. So what is happening? This mind, the causal consciousness, is changing. Now in Navel Consciousness, we in a workshop reinitiate the entire causal consciousness. That means there are 12 limitations that you naturally acquire if you are born anywhere in Kali Yuga or close to Kali Yuga. You have to have those limitations to be able to be born like that, to be born in that configuration. And your preparation, your and my preparation to go towards Sat Yuga is to let go of this. So you will find a lot of quantum techniques in the world right now that actually allow you to shift your perceptions this fast. And so there are 12 limitations that we are born with. Undoing those 12 limitations from every single space of who you are in your entire causal consciousness, your individual causal consciousness and the collective causal consciousness. Because you, my friend, you alone can impact 1 billion beings around you. 1 billion beings, a minimum. One how, that I will tell you in the workshop. I will show it to you in the workshop. But your decision of who you are impacts 1 billion people. And I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about the people that you meet or your family or your country. I said 1 billion beings. It includes dead and alive. It includes beings from it includes the animals, it includes beings from here, it includes beings from other places too. So we reinitiate your causal consciousness, removing those starting the process of removing those 12 limitations, starting the journey. We don't completely remove them. We start the journey. We kickstart the journey to remove those 12 limitations, and you are given a process via which you strengthen this removal and strengthen the activation of the abundance triad simultaneously. You're doing this together. You're removing the limitation, you're activating the abundance triad, and thus you're shifting your causal consciousness to allow yourself to be a quantum being rather than just the limited causal self. This is the third option. The fourth option is to take dynamic Reiki initiations. Why dynamic Reiki? Dynamic Reiki is traditional Uzui Reiki. As Ma learnt it, as she passed on to me, as I passed on, or she or I passed on to a few trainee teachers. We have not trained any teachers under us who are dynamic Reiki teachers and who are operating independently. They have taken the level 3B and they are operating independently. They can call it whatever, but they cannot call it being a dynamic Reiki teacher. To be a dynamic Reiki teacher, you have to be a dynamic Reiki lineage teacher and be associated with us and work according to our spiritual ethics. So, in the dynamic Reiki initiation, where everything else is taught as was taught to Mother Rabia by the school set up directly by a Japanese monk. So the training that she has received is not the westernized training. It is the original training, one of the original trainings. And so everything is the original Uzui way of teaching. The only difference is in the initiation is infused the birth beat alignment. Birth beat alignment is that when you are born, your navel, your heart and mind pulse in a single pulse. This single pulse is the same pulse the earth goes with. So your being, the three most important elements of your being are pulsing with the earth. The earth is pulsing with the universe. This is the universal beat, the universal pulse, the universal rhythm that goes from you all the way to the source. But when you are born in the Kali Yuga or anywhere after it, your umbilical cord is cut, your navel is damaged, and you are scattered out of this pulse. Now the universe and the earth is pulsing its usual pulse. You have three different pulses at your navel, at your heart, at your mind. You are fragmented. And as you are fragmented, and these three different pulses drive you crazy. So now you will recognize why when you face an issue in life, your gut tells you something else, your heart wants to do something else, your mind tells you, your brain tells you that there is something else you have to do. And we are forever torn between this gut, mind and heart battle. Why are we not whole? Why is there not one impulse and we just know, and we know it in our entire being? This is how we are supposed to be born technically. But in Kali Yuga and around it, after it, you are not born that way. You are born with fragmentation. Now you and I are the people who are in the process of shifting this so that the future generations will not be born with this limitation, this fragmentation. So during the dynamic Reiki traditional Uzui class, during the traditional initiation is long, 3 different initiations. One initiation takes 20 minutes for one teacher to initiate. One student has to be done 3 times for each level. On top of that, we have infused the birth beat alignment founded by Mother Rabia into the initiation. And what that does is, apart from all the phenomenal benefits of a normal Uzui Reiki initiation, it adds to that initiation. It fulfills you, it completes you, your karma gets accelerated, and you find your life purpose. It's the second most precious initiation you receive after the Navel Awakening initiation. So there is a 5 days class where you're doing level 1, level 2. We do not do only level 1. We do level 1, level 2. Then you take a break and you do level 3A. And then if you stay with us, if we have a journey together, if you understand with us, as we do not have clients, we have love affairs. And please do not think of any romance here or any physicality or sexuality. We have spiritual love affairs. We do not have clients. We do not have students. I don't call them students. I call them spiritual love affairs between teacher and receiver, between the master and receiver. And if we have that kind of a love affair with each other, that spiritual love affair, then you are trained towards becoming a teacher, and in a few years you can begin to assist us and at some point become an independent teacher, the lineage teacher. You will always remain associated with us. More about that in the class itself. So it's a 5 days class, a very precious initiation. This is the 4th option you have. The 5th option is all your work with me online. If these are classes for which the 4 options that I have presented to you, you have to be present for them. I am live, I am present, I am in person, and you are sitting in front of me, in some cases in front of Ma, and we are doing these classes. Navel Consciousness classes, workshops are not carried out by anyone else except me. So I have not authorized or not trained anyone else. When I have, you will have the list on my website and I will promote them myself. Until then, if somebody comes up to you and tells you that I have trained them, please know they're just bluffing. So, but what do you do when you can't make it for these classes? That's when Navel Consciousness Digital Gurukul steps in. Again, Digital Gurukul is the spiritual love affair you and I will be having online. It will have all the systematic, stepwise process of inner journey, not random workshops, not something that scatters you further or fragments you further or burdens you with wisdom and information but doesn't create any real changes. It's a curated journey carried out over a long period of time. Your commitment of a year is required. A minimum should be there so that you give yourself the patience, the honor that is needed to work. So you can continue to work with me online. Come and attend workshops, come and attend initiations as and when needed, and continue the online work so you're never out of touch. One of the biggest mistakes the modern spiritual movement has made is to hop from one workshop, one teacher to the other and then not be in touch. It's like going and getting your surgery done and never consulting your doctor again, never letting the doctor see how your surgery went. So all the infestations, all the infections, all the things that have gone wrong, they keep festering inside. And then you go to another place and you fix yourself, but you never follow up. This is the poison of the modern spiritual movement that has mostly come from the logical side. It has not come from the spiritual, the Eastern style of spirituality where there is devotion, there is an ecstatic surrender, there is a higher perception at play. There's no power game. I mean to say in authentic circles, I'm not talking about cults and sects, and I'm not talking about places where you are manipulated. I'm talking about the authentic spiritual journey. There are no power plays. But the modern system of workshops is a power play, is a game system where you are in charge, and because of that you go and take what you want to choose depending on the power your fears and insecurities have over you. So if you don't want to face it, you will never be shown a mirror. They can't show you a mirror. But in the Eastern system, Guru is the light, teacher is the light, and the teacher keeps reflecting your beauty and your ugliness to you. And you see it. When you see it, you become uncomfortable with your ugliness and you change it, and you know that the teacher has your back. But in the typical hopping from one workshop, one teacher, one modality to another, you don't have that precious feeling of someone having your back. More about the Navel Consciousness Digital Gurukul and what inner journeys and what has damaged our spiritual journeys, what has propelled them, what has catapulted them. More about that in the next episode. The sixth option is an online Navel Consciousness personal session with me. In the personal session, it's you and me. We are online. I'm focused on you. I have your causal consciousness in front of me. And just like an artist, some things immediately show up and I can see them. They are there in your karmic field. They need to be removed now or shifted now so that your energy can start flowing. We work on those things. Most of the times, people understand that, oh yeah, this is what I needed to work on. Most of the times, many of the times people resonate with it, like, oh, this is what I needed to work on. Most of the times they are like, wow, this is what I needed to work on. And it's something they did not expect. But as that moves, you start to take quantum leaps. It is, again, a spiritual love affair between me and the receiver. And I do personal sessions only based on reference. So you cannot apply to me directly for a personal session. You can write to me. I will intuit if I would like to give you a personal session. I give only, I think, 13 to 14 personal sessions in a month, in a span of 1 week per month. So I don't give more than 14 personal sessions in a month. And for that reason, you have to come to me for it through reference. So find some student who is already in a personal session with me and ask them to give your reference if they know you. My personal sessions are deliberately expensive, both in Indian money and in euros, because I do not want any idiots to be taking my personal space and time. When I say idiots, I simply, do not be offended by it. I simply mean to say people who are not interested in healing and taking a healing leap, but people who are interested in just venting themselves out and considering it to be like a therapy session where you just puke what you have to say, but not take in what the process has to give you. So, of course, you are talking your deepest secrets, your deepest emotions, deepest wounds to me, and that's not venting, that's sharing. But you are also, the students who are with me in this are also taking in the process that I'm giving them, and we do it together. We walk hand in hand. So it's not a venting process, and I don't want to be someone you just come and have your emotional vomiting on. So to cut that shit off, to cut that bullshit off, which is widely prevalent, my personal session fees is, for some people, expensive. For some people who have money, it's good enough. It's not expensive for them. It doesn't pinch their pocket, but it does make them realize that they are paying a fees. I have kept it like that because I don't want you to just come and buy my time and not change. If you come that close to me, you better change. You better shift. And whatever we have to do for that, we will do for that. So this is all the information that I could give you about the options that we have, right from this Navel Awakening Initiation to the NC Self-Energizing Session, NC Touch Session, NC Causal Re-Initiation, Dynamic Reiki Level 1 and 2, 3 and 3A and B, and NC Digital Gurukul, and a personal session with me. I will be talking about NC Digital Gurukul. It's very close to my heart. It's my dream project. It's my contribution to you, because so many people reach out to me for a personal session, and so many people, and I have not yet started giving the Navel Consciousness and self-energizing session workshops or touch workshops. So many people reach out to me for personal sessions and are not able to take them, afford them. So when I saw that so many people want to work with me but are not able to afford the session fees, and I don't want to compromise the session fees, I came up with a middle path. So the NC Digital Gurukul is something which you can very well afford and yet not miss. It's not so cheap that you can just keep it in your inbox, but it's cheap enough for you to be able to afford it every month, and walk with me, journey with me right where you are. And we walk together. We have this beautiful spiritual love affair. We have this relationship. We ascend together. We process together. We arrive together. And we change the world together. We change us. We change the world together. More about that dream project and what are the energies standing behind it next week. I hope you have enjoyed this highly informative live, and I have enjoyed it because now, on a personal note, I'm not feeling well. I have been terribly ill. My son Kabir has been terribly ill. He's been coughing non-stop, and we haven't slept for 2 nights, both of us and the family members. And it's been very tiring journey. But I decided to show up for the live anyways, and I decided to see who will I be. And just before the live, I actually didn't want to give an informative live. This was the live that I was supposed to give today. But because of not feeling well, I didn't want to give an informative live. It seemed like a burden, like, oh, there's so much to talk. Why? But then now that when I sat in this chair, my energy shifted and I gave this live. So thank you so much for all of you who are here live with me. Sujata Tyagi, Pallavi Pal, Sonu Goyal, Jyoti, Azmi, another person whose name I cannot see, Neetu Shetty, Anu, Divya, Rahul, all of you, Simi, all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, that which is ecstatic is abundant. That which is abundant is always healthy. I'm sending you a gigantic wave of ecstasy, abundance, health. See you next week.